They didn't know what it was up out there.
Good morning, race fans! Right, here at Deep Creek Lake, Firecracker July 4th Regatta. You can see windward mark way up there. It's always going to be directly into the wind. Our race committee here with the yellow and black come with an hail flag up, meaning come check in. Some flag on the other side of that is the postponement flag. The red and white striped flag means the start time has been delayed. So the start is going to be between that race committee boat and the pin on the other side, or the mark on the other side, which is not set yet. It's in that boat there still. The leeward mark is set. Dead downwind from the windward mark and the starting line, because there are no jibe marks here today. Windward leeward is the course on this 4th of July weekend. Alright, so the postponement flag just came down with a horn. That means that we are within a minute of the 5-minute gun for the Gold Fleet here at Deep Creek Lake. There's Joni Palmer waving to her fans. And the postponement is back up. So much for that idea. 2 horns and a Where's Waldo flag. We're coming up on 5 minutes again. They have blown the postponement flag down. That was a while ago, so right there is a 5-minute gun. Red is the class flag here. Red standing for Gold Fleet in this racing association. They moved the course just a little bit left, so our windward mark has gone left.
That's a drive over here.
There it is right there. Upwind. They're gonna race all the way down. We're gonna start here, of course, in between the pin and the race committee boat there, right at 5 minutes. We should be coming up on 4-minute gun. So the preparatory flag right there. Blue with a white square signaling that if you're over early, you can get back below the line and restart. Had it been a yellow flag with a black circle, it would have signaled that if you're over early, you have to sail around the ends to get back below the line, around the ends of the line. Down here is our leeward mark. They reset, so they moved it to the downwind left, upwind right. To square the course off, we're within 4 minutes. You can see our Gold Fleet getting ready on the line here. Still plenty of time. Kristen Daryl Van Hutton. A couple of professional athletes. Chase Hillier. So Chris and Daryl are not actually professional athletes. They do play golf every day in retirement. That's why I say that. The Flying Scot class has levels of fleets at all our major regattas, and at the Firecracker this weekend, you'll see later on, there's a championship fleet and a silver fleet, allowing for novice sailors to be able to race and better their skills, prepare themselves for the gold fleet. At the end of the day, it's a hobby sport about having fun for all of us. Flag will come down. So, 1 minute till the start. You can see everybody jockeying for position. Looks like we're gonna have some boats over the line early here. That was the start. I'm just gonna watch this one fleet around the race course. So we talked about it being a windward-leeward course. Depending on the number of laps that the race committee designates, these boats are gonna sail up to this windward mark, tacking back and forth to get to the windward mark, round it, set the spinnakers. The spinnakers sail downwind to the leeward mark. And then with this light of air, it might just be once around, which means that they would finish here at Deep Creek Lake on the other side of the race committee boat. There will be another pin or mark over there that they'll finish in between the race committee boat and the mark on the other side. Some race committees will have you finish on the starting line. It just depends on how it's written in the sailing instructions, how the race committee wants to do that. You can find that information in the sailing instructions. And don't forget to check your course so you know how many times to sail around.
We just got the message that it was over.
What's that, LT?
We just got the message it was over.
Oh, yep, sure enough, there was a boat over. White flag with a blue cross. Went up with a horn, signifying that a boat was over early. Usually they'll try to hail the numbers, but it's hard to hear them. And you just have to know I was over or I wasn't over. In this case, it was 22:59, heading back to the line. Once he's clear, once all the boats that were over early were clear, they will hail the boat clear and take down the white flag with the blue cross. Again, when a boat is over early, they put that up with a single horn, signaling that there was a boat early. If you think you were over, you best go back.
doesn't stay lagged, unfortunately.
So we have some of the best light air sailors in the world here at Deep Creek Lake. They are accustomed to light winds such as we have today. You're watching Joni Palmer, one of the best women skippers, one of the best skippers of any sex. She is a national champion, an Adams Cup champion, and a Deep Creek Lake champion. Some big waves here. You can see Joni ease her mainsail there to power up to get through these waves. Closely behind by her husband, who is a national caliber sailor, right there with his wife, Ray Gauthier, powering through the waves. On the other side of the course, we see John Meredith, who is one of the best sailors on the lake. Lots of competition here today. We see Joni has tacked. Looks like there might be more breeze over there on the right. The boats on the right also appear to have a more favorable, not only is there more wind over there, which is the most important thing, but they are also lifted to the mark, which means that the breeze is coming, in this case, to the right of the mark, coming from more this end of the lake. So they'll have a more favorable angle. They can come closer to laying the windward mark, which is right on the other side of that pontoon boat. Joni had a good breeze there. She trimmed her main end and took her ups. Right side came in with vengeance. Chris and Daryl able to get all the way over to the right side to take full advantage of the wind that was over there and the lift as well. They'll be first to the windward mark here. Like it's light enough that they're gonna forego the spinnaker for just a little bit, staying high here so they can get away from the mark. Not a bad idea. Getting away from the mark instead of going dead down right away so that all these boats don't take their air. There's some familiar faces. Harry Carpenter, Flying Scot National Champion, actually crewing for like the first time ever, in a long time at least, for Melanie Dunham. They've got a good race going here. Kristen Darrell out in front, jibed over, taking advantage of still that righty persists. That wind's coming from the right of the mark. That means that the right side upwind is favored and the left side going downwind. Essentially the same side of the course. You want to get over here to where that puff came from, where those puffs are coming from, and the wind is blowing from that direction as well. So you can see the favorable angle that everybody's getting by jibing over. Kristen Darrell really extending their lead here. Pretty impressive, these two. See the rest of these boats getting in each other's air. John Meredith's not happy. These are just the leaders that we're watching here. You can see back here all of the other boats. The Silver Fleet, there's actually boats back here racing in the Silver Fleet. So they actually started 5 minutes later, but they are all getting to the run now. Chris and Daryl opting for an early takedown here. You can see it's still quite a bit of distance to the leeward mark, but it's a smart thing for them to do because they've got a commanding lead. No reason to get stuck with the spinnaker up, which can be caused if you don't have one of Flying Scot Incorporated's retractable spinnaker halyards. If that spinnaker gets caught, if it gets all knotted up the line, then it can cause a bad mark running, which is why they took down early. Make sure that's not going to happen. Nice wide and tight turn. He came in wide so he can exit tight. Looks like the breeze is even more right now, so he should probably be tacking. There, he just tagged. Joni Palmer coming in second here. John Meredith fought back to get back into third. Both of them with much more timely takedowns since they're in more of a battle. Here comes Harry and Melanie in from the left. You see Joni going wide and tight there. John Meredith after her. Nice wide and tight rounding. They're on the wind. That's what we call it, going upwind. John's gonna be the first attack. Seeing that righty, knowing that starboard tack is favorite here. He is, let's see here. He is just about laying the mark. If you look at his angle, you can tell you definitely don't want to be on port tack. You see where all those boats are coming from, that's where the windward mark is at. And you can see John is laying it, but still there's all these boats over here on port tack that are sailing away from the mark right now. If they tacked over, they could lay it, so. Don't do that. Yeah, they're starting to get the memo. So it's another shifty day on Deep Creek Lake. They did not tack, so they're gonna go back up to the windward mark. They are almost laying it, not quite. Definitely on the right tack. It's funny, the race committee changed the course to move it left in a shift earlier, and of course it went back right. So now everybody's sailing on a skewed course. No big deal, they did their best. Shifty lakes like this, it's often just to set it and leave it because it's probably going to shift back. So some of those boats did all right going right there for a little bit. Well, I guess Joni was already in the lead. She tacked pretty quickly too. And she's gonna squash John there. You can see that covering move. Joni tacked over on John's air so that she would give him his bad air. The problem now is that John was able to tack out, get clear air, and he is on starboard tack, but Joni's protecting the right. She thinks she's gonna get into some more wind over there. And she just might. That's where it came at the first leg. These race courses tend to repeat themselves. So, when in doubt, do what worked last time. She's really going far right though. Joan and Lee Carrara there. They just got a new boat. It's not quite yet ready, so they're still racing the old one. They're really excited about that new boat. So the nice thing about a new boat is that you know it's fast. So if other boats are going faster than you, you know that you need to calibrate your sailing because you're in a new boat, which from the factory is guaranteed to be on weight, guaranteed to be fast, and so it allows you to calibrate, okay, what can I do to be going faster because I know it's not my boat. So yeah, it's looking like John's gonna get into second here. The wind's starting to come up, so that's always good. Daryl and Chris are gonna, win this race. All right, just to check in, Chris and Daryl have gotten to the windward mark. Right there, they are past it. As John Meredith has come back a good amount. And this white mark here, this is a good point. This white mark, that's the offset mark. So all the boats have to sail around it as well as the windward mark. And just like you saw Chris and Daryl do to a little bit of excess, that's to get boats into clear air for the downwind leg. Yeah, Joni made that right side work. She came in with a ton of wind there. It stayed right with John. He sailed more the better angle, but Joni got to the wind first. Usually the wind first works, so that's what Joni was thinking. It was just so far right that the better angle helped John quite a bit. A good shot of our leaders. Of course, on that favored side, getting towards that favored side. Sail towards the favored side. Who would have thought? Who would have thought, huh, Larry?
Joni's gonna miss the offset, or she's sailing high.
Uh-oh. Is Joni gonna miss the offset?
Okay.
She knows better. But here comes the, watch this, she's gonna take her spinnaker down. Because she almost forgot that offset. So we'll check back in with the races here. Joni was able to jibe on the inside way back there at the windward mark. So she had John's air, and there's no way she's letting that go. We're moving pretty good. The wind's filled in. It'll be a good race between her and John for second place. can see Chris and Daryl way up there. Although they've fallen into the doldrums right now, which is always frustrating downwind. Keeping yourself in clear air, because if you lose it, guess who brings it? These two jackrabbits right here. Now there, Chris and Daryl have it back. So they're moving again. They lost some ground. But here's the thing. They are more downwind towards us than John and Joni. So they can come up and go faster. Essentially they're staying in between their competition and the mark, which is down here towards us. Relatively. They will not have to jibe to get to the lured mark. You can see Daryl looking over his back shoulder. Nope, that's not a good time for that. So this is good. It makes it a more interesting race. The question here is going to be, does Joni have inside overlap on Chris and Daryl? The 3 boat length circle, when you extend your boat 3 times and it gets to that mark, if Joni's bow there is overlapped, if you drew a line perpendicular to her bow, she is overlapped with Chris, then she'll have inside advantage, meaning that he has to give her room to round that mark in front of him. And that's exactly what's happened here. Joni takes the lead. This should be the finish in this light of air. Can't believe that they do more than 2 laps. You can see Joni tack to protect and cover the competition. She's going to decide to cover John here. This right side's been working upwind, no doubtedly. That's in the back of her mind. Just to show you. So they're racing upwind to the finish line now. Right there. So we have Joni out in front. She's covering the competition, moving fastest. There are some boats to windward of her down here, but they're not moving fast enough to be a threat. She's been able to keep the boat moving on the favorite side of the course with a favored angle towards the next mark. And that is the name of the game. Should be able to get the finish line in the frame here. Just like the start, there's a person at the pin, eyeing the line, that orange pin and that yellow mark. And here comes Joni Palmer with another notch on her belt, followed by John Meredith. This boat here made the pass, coming out towards this favorite side, was able to pass Chris and Daryl Van Hutton. Yep, they're frustrated, no doubt. This right side has taken them from first to fourth. Still a very respectable finish.
Maybe not even fourth now.
Here's Melanie Dunham storming up to finish her race. No doubtedly very relaxed on the helm, as she should be. She's got an expert helmsman in her boat. They're keeping the weight nice and far forward. Look at that. That's how it's done right there, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe a little flatter now that they're in this puff. They could flatten it out. Another beautiful day of sailing on Deep Creek Lake.